Thank you for turning into Brodown. I'm your friendly neighborhood bobuck, and I'm here with my co-host,
Maddog Mike.
And we're going to be coming at you with a lot of different topics today on our podcast. But first, before we get into any of that, I'm going to head it over to Mike for some gaming news.
So, first off, today, Medieval is coming back on PlayStation 4 as a resurrection. It'll be back in October. Definitely something I'm looking forward to, as being like a childhood game I used to love playing. Something else we have going on, I don't know about you guys, but Black Ops is getting kind of dry. You know, everyone with a Master Prestige now. If you're not a Master Prestige, you just got the game because it's been out for so long. Modern Warfare 4, there's a lot of stuff going into that. It's not confirmed yet, but 4 of the guys who were in Modern Warfare 3 and Infinity Ward just came back to Infinity Ward, so that's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a telltale for me, so it sounds like anyway. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and move over to our favorite topic, which is going to start being a week-to-week thing until it finishes, which is Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we're going to do our predictions for next week's episode. Guess this won't be a very long-running series since there's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah, but it's something, you know what I mean?
It's something. So, my predictions for next week are, I think we've seen, Arya and the Hound heading south, and I think we've seen in the previews Jon is already south.
Yeah.
He made it down there with his army.
Yes, Jon looked like he made it down there with his army, and Arya, you know, she stated that she wasn't going back. So
right.
Is that a prediction or something? Foreshadowing?
I think that there might have been a lot of foreshadowing in that episode. Jon gave up Ghost.
Yeah.
Sent him up north.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as all the children have lost their dire wolves, they've died, with the exception being Bran, obviously. Then Rhaegal died. Spoiler, by the way, if anybody hasn't seen the last episode.
Yeah, we should have said that at the beginning.
Yeah, we definitely should have said that. But, so Rhaegal died, which was his dragon, which was also his namesake. You know, his father was Rhaegar.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think there were some death predictions. Arya, I don't know. I think it would be real hard for them to kill her off, especially 2 episodes after, you know, she saved the world, basically, with the Night King.
She killed the Night King.
She did.
That was badass.
It really was. I like the drop.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of a series of books I used to read, Ranger's Apprentice.
Yeah, that was a good series.
They had very different, or very similar fighting mechanics in it. But Arya, I do not think will die. I don't think she will. I think Euron will. I think Euron definitely will. Cersei, maybe.
I hope so.
Everybody knows she's going to die. It's going to happen. In what manner it's going to happen, not sure.
I feel like Dany's going to be the one to have that blade.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Dragonfire is way too quick for Cersei.
Yeah, I agree. She deserves something much, much worse.
She really does deserve much worse than that. Yeah, no, I'm not predicting a huge ton of deaths next week. I think Tyrion will make it all the way through.
Well, yeah, everybody loves Tyrion.
Yeah. Jon is kind of rocky. We'll see how this week goes. I think if he lives through this week, he'll live through the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to live through this week, though.
You don't?
No. I'm not sure. They killed him once, and they mentioned it a couple times, him dying.
Right.
Since he died.
Yeah.
You know, at the party, for example, oh, this guy died and came back, blah, blah, blah. Is that foreshadowing?
It could have been.
Because Game of Thrones is notorious for that, you know.
Now, do you think they're still notorious for it, even though they moved on past the books? Because a lot of the foreshadowing was predominantly in the books.
Do I think so? Yeah, it's just the Game of Thrones way.
Okay.
This is how the whole series has been. Why stop now? It'd be easiest just to continue on the same path.
I mean, I would agree with you. I think the last episode that we had was the most Game of Thrones-y Game of Thrones that we've seen in a few years, really.
Yeah.
You know,
another Game of Thrones-y thing is to kill off the main characters.
It is. It really is.
So,
which that's basically all that we have now.
Yeah, Jon, Dany, Tyrion.
Right.
Arya.
Davos, Sansa.
And I don't know, the Hound is kind of Like a middle main character.
The Hound's a good point, though, because we might get to see Clegane Bowl next week. That's what we're all hoping for.
Yes.
Whenever he fights his big brother.
Yes, that definitely needs to happen. If it doesn't, I would be extremely upset.
I also would be pretty upset, especially with how they've been leading up the whole thing. We all know that's why he's headed south to King's Landing.
Oh yeah, his brother's there. He knows his brother's there.
Right. Everybody, I don't think, except for Danny, obviously, and John, are focused on finishing Cersei. Especially what after happened with Missandei. Mm-hmm. But I think other people's interests are peeking out more now. You see Arya wanting to work on her list, saying that she's not going to go home. You see Sansa not worrying about the North and taking more action of lining herself up with the crown.
Yeah.
Because she told Tyrion about Jon's real parentage.
Even though she promised her brother that she wouldn't. And now you got two people who want Jon on the throne.
Right.
But no, there's a whole group of people that want Jon on the throne now.
I think Varys is going to die. I think he'll get found out real quick by Dany. Yeah. I think he'll be executed for it.
Yeah, I agree. And then that's going to put a big thorn in between Dany and Jon.
It really is. It's going to prove the Mad Queen theory, mm-hmm. which is her turning into her father.
Yeah, a tyrant.
Right.
Which, I mean, I could see it happening. If you've noticed over the last few seasons, she's changed a lot. She doesn't care about the people anymore.
She doesn't.
It doesn't seem like she does. All she cares about is the throne.
Yeah, she has real bad tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how it turns out, man.
So
there's a lot of disappointments in Game of Thrones, really. Especially for me, from the books to the show, would be the things that they left out.
To be honest with you, man, I never actually read the books.
You didn't?
I started, I never finished it.
I've read all 5 that he has out. Obviously, the latest one, I think I read back in 2011, 2012, was definitely 2012 because I was out of school. A Dance with Dragons. They're beautifully written, intricately written, to where a way somebody says something in the first book can affect the way something happens in the 5th book. So you need to read a paragraph, then reread the paragraph, you know what I mean, to really get the full effect of what's going on.
Just like watching it, you have to watch it twice to really get all the information they're putting out there for you.
You really do.
So,
but the biggest difference for me between the books and the TV show is the wildlife that exists in this world that they don't put on camera. You know, they barely show the direwolves now.
They barely show the giants now.
Well, I think all the giants are dead, aren't they?
I believe so, but even whenever they weren't, I mean, they showed them in a couple episodes in the wars and stuff, but that was it.
Right.
They could have used them for so much more.
R.I.P. 1-1. Ramsay did him dirty.
Yeah.
But there's so much wildlife. In the books, there's mermaids. There's lizard creatures that live on a different continent than Westeros or Essos. It's not talked about in Game of Thrones. But it's in the books.
That would have been interesting to see them put something like that in.
It would have been. Up north of the wall, there's dire bears. Just a whole bunch of different mythological creatures. I believe somewhere, don't quote me on this, there's even a unicorn.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
But I've never really done much research on
yeah, unicorns in Westeros.
You just look up. You know, that's something my daughter would look up, maybe.
Right.
Like, hey, where's unicorns at? I don't know. Probably dead. They kill off everything else.
Unicorns are weird, man. Especially if you have never seen, imagine you've never seen any animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you that there's a creature out there that has 6-foot long legs, is a 15-foot tall creature with a 6-foot long neck, that's part part goat, part horse, with cheetah spots. You're not going to believe me, right?
No, I wouldn't believe you.
But it's a giraffe.
Yeah.
It's a giraffe.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I tell you that there's a horse that has horns, that's completely believable.
Yeah.
I mean, for the longest time, I thought narwhals were fake.
Mhm.
You know, the whales that have the horns.
Yeah, they're like unicorn whales.
Right, they're unicorn. That's exactly what they are. Yeah, no, nature is real weird about stuff like that. Like platypuses, I had no idea platypuses were a real thing. Like I thought it was
Really?
just, yeah. What were those?
Seen Planet Earth?
I've seen Planet Earth, but what were those commercials for? Shit, like
Yeah,
the
no
Lunchables.
No idea, man.
You've never seen?
I don't watch TV.
So there's these commercials for Lunchables where a platypus and a jackalope are talking about like how unbelievable the Lunchables are because they're unbelievable creatures. But the jackalope is actually a fictitious creature where the platypus isn't, so I don't understand that. But yeah.
Maybe the commercial's foreshadowing.
Maybe there are actually rabbits with horns running around or antlers. We don't know about it.
It's been believed for a long time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things like that have been believed. You know, you got jackrabbits. You got jackalopes, whatever. You get the Loch Ness Monster, which leads us into our next point, actually, Bigfoot.
Right, yeah,
So,
we're going to talk about Bigfoot, and we're going to try to talk about a lot of cryptids on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Touch up on different ones. Today's going to be mainly focused on them. Tongue tied there.
The thing is about these types of cryptids is you can't be wrong.
Right, but you also can't be right.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's really up for discussion. If you guys have anything to input, just put it down in the comments. We'd love to see what you guys have to say about this kind of thing. But
Absolutely.
Anyway, go ahead, man. On the Bigfoot topic.
Do you think Bigfoot's real?
I don't know, man. I've never...
If you were a betting man, right now, you have to bet yes or no.
I would probably bet yes.
Interesting.
The reason behind that is there's so much of the forests that, people haven't seen in, 10, 20 years.
Right.
There's no way a guy walks the woods every day, every single part of these woods in the United States and Canada, and says, oh, there's no Bigfoot out there. I've been everywhere in the woods. It doesn't happen.
Right, because he hasn't been. And even if he has been everywhere in said woods, you're not everywhere at once.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and there's so many claims to people seeing Bigfoot that it's almost hard to prove otherwise.
Right. So, this is my take on it. I believe that people believe in Bigfoot. I believe there's something out there, but I'm not sure it's a 7-foot tall humanoid ape creature.
So what exactly do you think is out there then? Because there's all of these people that say it's 7-foot tall humanoid. What do you think?
I think it goes by area. And I think a lot of people truly believe that they see Bigfoot. So, like, say people that live in Washington, Oregon, Northern California. All of these places, as you can see on our map, have very high sightings numbers of what they would call Bigfoot. Black bears are all over the region. Black bears, they climb tree stands, they walk on their hind legs.
Yeah, that could definitely relate.
Most of the pictures, videos you see of these creatures are just black blurs taken on somebody's potato phone, from 30, 40 yards away, sometimes even farther.
You would think with today's technology that they'd be able to get a clear picture.
Right, exactly.
We have 4K now.
Like, I understand you're nervous because you think you're seeing a Bigfoot right now, but you could still take a picture, a decent picture. Everybody has a decent phone now. But
unless you're a mountain man.
Right.
Then you still got the Nokia.
You still have them flip phones. I've heard a couple stories from people that have claimed to have seen Bigfoot. And I trust both of these individuals very much. I completely believe that they seen something. One instance was a woman, 3 a.m, late 80s, or early 80s, I'm sorry. She was on a paper route, actually out by Unionport. Mm-hmm. You know those roads. They're back roads. Houses are few and far between. She's delivering papers, and she's pulled over to the side of the road, getting all of her papers in order, where she's going to stop next, stuff like that. And all of a sudden, in the distance, she starts to see this creature moving. And she can tell that it's a person. And she has no idea why there's a person on this road at this time of night, but it's moving towards the car. So she's sitting there, she locks the doors, and it's coming closer and closer. And as it comes closer, she can see how big it is. She says it's 6.5 feet tall, which is, taller than most people.
Sounds like your average Bigfoot story.
Right. Then she sees hair on it. The second that she sees that the entire thing out of the darkness is covered in hair, she takes off. I completely believe her. 100%.
For those that don't know, these roads that he's talking about are kind of like your horror movie described roads.
Very much.
I mean, that's just how this whole region is. The back roads are all like, you got drop-offs, you got mountains shooting up, woods are just completely covering the roads. You look up, you see trees, you look right, you see trees, and just dense
Very
woods.
dense.
It's hard to see anything. And if you're going down one of these roads at 3 o'clock in the morning, your mind can play tricks on you, at least in my opinion.
Right, and she was stopped, which brings me to my next story is another man, same basic area that was out by Faith Ranch. I don't know if you know where that's at.
Yeah.
He was on his way home, looked out his window, again, nighttime, through the woods. There's something, he's going 35 miles an hour in his car, and it's running next to his car.
At 35, 40 miles an hour.
At 35, 45 miles an hour. Now, this man is very trusted. Like, I completely believe that he's seen something. What it was, I have no idea. I don't, there's no accounts of a Bigfoot or anything moving that quickly, but he said it was a very large mass moving next to him.
I think I missed it. Did you say it was during the nighttime? Or
Nighttime.
Nighttime. I got you.
Same man, I believe, also told a story one time of when he went hunting. He felt like there was a presence with him the entire time. He felt like he was being watched. And then after a while, he started taking in this very odorous scent. Just very, like, decaying animals mixed with body odor.
It's like a mountain man.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, like somebody that hadn't showered, that's lived in the woods for years. You could smell them, but you can't even see them. Like, you have no idea where the smell's coming from. He smelt this, and it followed him around all day until he left. As soon as he got close to where he had parked, he instantly could feel the moment he wasn't being watched anymore.
I hate that feeling.
It's a horrible feeling, especially if you wake up at night.
Or in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why you would wake up in the middle of the woods.
No, not wake up in the middle of the woods. But like if you're hunting, you're all by yourself. I mean, nowadays, everybody's got phones. You call your buddy, be like, yo, bro, get out here. I feel like I'm being watched. I don't want to get out of my tree stand right now. I don't feel comfortable with it. Right. Most friends wouldn't think twice about walking into woods that you're not getting out of your tree stand.
Right.
But some people, I don't know, man. I can't do that. I mean, I don't know. He's in a tree stand. He's armed. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I wouldn't either. But there's another story that I've heard. Back in the 1880s, I read this somewhere. It was in a book. I claim none of this is true. It was written somewhere. But these people had captured one. I believe they were in Washington or Oregon. They actually captured one of these beasts. And they had it in this cabin. And their plan was they had it in this large iron cage. And they had tranquilized it with something. I don't know if it was ketamine or whatever tranquilizer they used back then for farm animals. So they tranquilized it, and they were in this cabin, and the plan was to take it into town in the morning. Well, through the night, boulders and rocks were thrown at the cabin with such force it actually tore down the cabin. They fled the cabin. They let whatever creature they had go, and they ran out of the woods.
I think I'd done the same thing.
I would have too.
I mean, if stuff's flying at my house, I'm dipping out.
100%.
Grabbing my family, grabbing my guns, and getting out.
Then there was the guy not too long ago that claimed to kill one. He was very famous, especially on the History Channel where they have all the Bigfoot Bigfoot shows.
I love it when people claim that they kill one and they don't have a body.
Right. His thought process for not having the body, or his explanation, was that he felt so embarrassed for killing it whenever he got close to it and seeing how human it was, that he had buried it. Well, when they went back to go get DNA where he had quote-unquote buried it, it was gone.
Imagine that. Yeah.
So, I do not think Bigfoots are real. In saying that, I think that Bigfoots or Yetis or whatever you would like to call them, they're based off of a real creature.
Yeah, a black bear.
No, not a black bear. A long time ago.
No, that's what I think people are seeing as bears.
A long time ago, there actually used to be an orangutan-like creature that would walk on two legs called Gigantopithecus, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or Megapithecus.
I think
one or the other.
Yeah.
And that creature was an inhabitant of, I think, Asia and parts of the Northwest. Mm-hmm. If
scientists believe it actually crossed the land bridge.
The land bridge, right. So they believe that they migrated as far into like the northern United States. So I don't think that there's any orangutans in the woods nowadays. I'm sure that we would have found anything that's in the woods. That's my opinion. I think that they, and this is really stretching here, are some type of like spirit that guards the woods, if that makes sense.
A spirit guardian?
Kind of. I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you think about it, he went hunting, right? And he felt like he was being watched the entire time, but he was never threatened.
No, he wasn't, but he didn't threaten anything. What if he would have shot a deer? What would have happened? You know what I'm saying?
We're not sure. But with the story with the woman that was in the car, he never made a threatening move towards her. He never ran towards the car. He didn't have a chance, but it also got her to move. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen on these back roads. You know, if you go in the woods here and randomly start digging, you don't know how many bodies you're going to find.
That's true.
So you don't know what could have happened that night either. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe it was a premonition, like a warning.
Yeah, I definitely believe that.
So that's personally what I think. I think that there is something out there. I just think it's, I guess, not worldly. You know what I mean?
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah.
I still think there's a Bigfoot. I mean, that's just my opinion. Like I said, there's too much of the woods that hasn't been gone through, so to speak.
Right.
And there are so many caves in today, in the northern regions, and there's too many that there haven't been explored yet. You know, we can't say that there isn't one.
You know, I agree with you on the fact that we can't for sure say that there is one. Do I believe there is one? No.
At least you're honest.
But there is a story out of World War II where a German battalion, platoon, whatever, came across a cave with a humanoid figure in it. It was not a Bigfoot. It had much less hair and it was much shorter. The scientists actually believe that it might have been a Neanderthal. So if you think of like all the lost tribes that we find, like down in the Amazon on different islands, there's a theory going around that there might be Neanderthals, just like the lost people that have never seen any contact from people in tens of thousands of years, that these Neanderthals are not hiding. They haven't evolved, and they're in one specific location that hasn't been quote-unquote discovered yet.
See, we're discovering races of people. Why can't there be, you know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Communities of Gigantopithecus. Yeah, I think that's just what it is. That just haven't been discovered yet.
Just communities of them, just living out there, you know, building their own houses, their little stick forts.
You know, they go make their own beer or their corn.
Jeez.
It's a stretch. But so is spirit people.
That's a very fair point. I could just imagine all the Bigfoot out there just having their huts in a line. You know, a little Bigfoot on a bike delivering papers. It's their own community.
Got their own little dirt road. Oh, that'd be great.
They don't need a dirt road. There's plenty of them out here.
Yeah, I'd pay to see something like that.
That'd be a good movie. Actually, they just made one like that, didn't they? It's called Smallfoot. It's about, it's a cartoon. It's about Bigfoot, but it's from their point of view, how they hear legends of like humans, and it's called Smallfoot. We have small feet compared to them.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like stories in their point of view.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
like we are the Bigfoot.
Right. Like
They've
we're
never seen us.
the mythical creature.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. See it from the other side.
But talking about mythical creatures, Mothman is what we're going to talk about next. Do you believe in the Mothman?
To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I believe like curses and stuff like that can happen to bad people, and I've heard that there's a lot of rumors about a curse surrounding Mothman.
Right.
So, do I believe there's a Mothman? Not necessarily. Do I believe that there was a curse that someone might have seen the Mothman and gone insane because of it? Absolutely. Because, like I said before, your mind can play so many tricks on you, it'll literally make you see anything, you know?
Right.
So,
betting man, yes or no?
no.
No Mothman.
Like, in the physical form Mothman?
Yes.
No, absolutely not. The United States Air Force would have picked it up by now.
You're going to make fun of me, but
Probably.
I don't believe in Bigfoot, but I do believe in a Mothman.
A Mothman.
I completely believe in a physical Mothman.
Where are his parents at? I'm just curious to see where this dude's parents at. I mean, look at him. Just look at him.
So what you're looking at now is a statue that is in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is the apex or the center of this Mothman conspiracy. If none of you know anything about the Mothman, just a quick rundown. People started seeing glowing eyes and a winged creature in the 70s, 80s, 60s era of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. All of these events led up to the collapse of what is known as the Silver Bridge. We'll get to all that in a minute. But the very first claims of sightings of a Mothman were seen by kids on back roads next to a military base.
A munitions plant, actually.
A munitions plant, exactly. You don't think that that's strange at all?
A munitions plant, World War II, chemicals.
Well, I mean, you never know if it was
fragile
actually...
state of mind.
You never know if it was actually a munitions plant.
I mean,
you could call it a munitions plant, and...
If there was going to be a Mothman somewhere, he'd be at Chernobyl.
You think so?
Absolutely.
You think he would be an accident? Just like a freak of nature. Like the Chernobyl disaster happens as some man's trying to run out of his apartment that accidentally swallows him off.
No, dude, I'm not talking about Spider-Man. You don't get bit by a moth that just turned into Mothman.
Can moths bite you?
I've never been bit by a moth.
I haven't either.
I've heard they eat clothes, but that's about it.
I woke up with one in my mouth once, and that was terrifying. That was enough to get me away from the entire
How did it taste?
situation.
Never eat a moth.
Never eat a moth.
Like chalk?
No, not even that. Just like cotton, like a light fluffiness. It's horrible. It's one of the worst experiences you could ever experience in your entire life. But anyway, back on topic.
I would pay to see that. $20, you do it again.
Back on topic. I guarantee it was some type of military project gone wrong. If you're going to do a project that involves a giant man flying with red eyes, you're going to do it in the backwoods of West Virginia where nobody's going to take you seriously anyway.
Yeah, no one really believes people in West Virginia. No offense.
Hell no.
I got a bunch of friends in West Virginia. No offense to anyone listening to this from West Virginia, but West Virginia's got a bad rap.
I mean, most of it's true, though. Most of the people in West Virginia are like meth dealers.
I thought that was a big heroin state.
I don't know. There's a whole opioid crisis.
Jeez.
But we are getting way off topic now.
Back to the Mothman.
Back to the Mothman. So, yeah, you have these sightings of this winged creature by these kids, and then people in this town start seeing this Mothman. Then people start having premonitions of this bridge falling. No, I'm not taking this from the movie. There's actually accounts of this happening. And then the bridge fell. And there were people that had called the police that had seen the Mothman on the bridge before it collapsed.
There's actually pictures of that. If you just do a quick Google search, you can see I think it's on the second pillar in the back side of the picture, where the Mothman is just chilling on the north, I believe.
It is one of the, besides Bigfoot, one of the only cryptids that it almost has more evidence than Bigfoot for how small of an area it actually is. It's only in Point Pleasant. You have over 100 sightings of the same exact thing. It's almost hard not to believe.
Yeah. I mean, they've had a lot of bad luck, though, surrounding the Mothman.
They have. It all goes back to a curse that they believe actually started the entire chain of events. There was a Indian warrior in this area known as Cornstalk. He was part of one of the Iroquois tribes, one of their branches. Him and his family were viciously murdered, and he put a curse on the land.
That was like his last breath.
Yeah.
He was putting a curse on everyone that he saved. He had saved those people.
He did. And then the people that were in the fort, just the selfishness of, our ancestors is ridiculous. But that's besides the point. Mm-hmm. So they kill this man, he curses the land, and since then, there has been a very alarming amount of tragic things that have happened in this Point Pleasant demographic area.
Yeah, more than most states have seen.
Yeah, for sure. The death toll and casualties and just random events is staggering. It's almost worse than Derry, the town off of it. How every 20 years, kids would go missing.
Yeah.
This is way, way worse. So it all started in the 1980s. There was a fire.
We'll talk about that on the next show.
What?
Derry.
Oh, the trailer just came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looked really, really good. And what's his name? The guy that played in Split. James Avoy.
Mm-hmm.
He plays Billy, I believe, and he looks tremendous. It's going to be a great movie.
Definitely going to talk about the trailer next time.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I really can't say enough about him. But anyway, 1980s, there was this fire that destroyed a portion of Point Pleasant. Random fire destroyed almost half the town, and this isn't too far after Cornstalk was killed. After that, 1907, there was 360 miners killed in an accident.
Mm-hmm. So just to backtrack a little bit, the chief died around 1870, right?
Right.
So, not 1870, 1770.
Okay.
I believe is when all that started. Because curses usually last, 200 years?
200 years is when they believe that it was broken, yes.
So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, 1770 to, 1971, all these events take place. So, you're talking, the fire.
Right.
And what happened after the fire?
There was a mining accident and killed 360 people. Mining accidents really aren't that uncommon, especially back then. This is a coal mining area.
Yeah, those are wooden.
Right.
Yeah.
That really didn't seem that weird for the time. It happens all the time. It happens all the time in South America now, as they're starting mining. Anyway, so
100 or so years behind us.
Right. So they thought that because Cornstalk was such a big part of this area's history, they decided to honor him and build a statue. Statue took 3 years to build because as they were building the statue, it had been repeatedly struck by lightning.
That's very odd.
Yeah.
You know, I heard the theory lightning never strikes the same place twice, but apparently in Point Pleasant, it strikes the same place multiple times.
Well, not even that. It's the statue, they were going to make it out of marble. Mm-hmm. There's no metal attractants in marble.
That's very
There's no reinforcement in the statue or anything like that. One solid piece.
One solid piece, they just grind it down and sand it down.
Yeah, however sculptors do their work. Then after that, there were multiple floods which kept destroying the area. It almost wiped Point Pleasant completely off the map. And then in 1944, something extremely strange happened. This area never, ever gets tornadoes.
Because the elevation, man.
It's the elevation, but it's also the hills.
Yeah, the elevation just keeps dropping and rising.
A tornado can't get a solid path, not like it can out in Illinois, where it can go for 45 miles and only hit one cow. So, 150 people in 1944 killed by tornadoes in one town.
In the hills.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Right next to a river, next to a mountain. It's almost too perfect.
I don't know if you know this or not, but the rivers actually play a huge role in thunderstorms and tornadoes.
I did not know that.
They do. So that could be what kind of helped Mr. Cornstalk in his wrath path.
His wrath path.
Yeah.
But anyway, after that, it really started to die off. There was a local story I remember reading as a kid that they had taken a tomahawk or a hatchet of his and had buried it at the site where he was killed, and that's when it stopped.
It's 200 years.
About 200 years.
It took 200 years to break the curse.
Yeah. So I don't know if the Mothman in this scenario with this curse is a coincidence that it happened right whenever the Silver Bridge collapsed, or if he was...
It definitely seems connected.
It almost does.
Like, maybe that's his, you believe in the spirits and stuff, maybe that's his spirit. He's a Mothman. It's a spirit animal. Moth.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a moth. It's just a dark, winged figure with red eyes. I know if I was going to come back as a spirit, that's what I'd come back as. Scare the shit out of everybody.
It sounds more like a gargoyle.
It does sound like a gargoyle.
It's definitely...
Or a dragon. A real dragon, not a worm. There's a difference.
What's the difference exactly?
Dragons have 4 legs and 2 wings. A worm has 2 back legs, and its wings are hooked to its front.
I did not know that.
Yep. So the dragons in Game of Thrones are not dragons, they're actually worms.
Huh. Oh, like how the wings come out so that's... I never noticed that.
Yep.
I thought there was dragons.
They are not dragons.
Damn. Spoiler alert. Game of Thrones does not have dragons.
100%. They do not.
That's definitely interesting.
But yeah, Mothman's yes for me. It could even be like a spirit animal, quote unquote.
I mean,
I would believe that.
The curse definitely sounds...
the curse sounds legit.
Chief Cornstalk definitely shafted the town.
Cornstalk.
No pun intended.
What a name. You have awesome Indian names like Tecumseh and Logan and Powhatan, but you get stuck with Cornstalk.
Maybe that's why he cursed the town.
I would. Screw you guys. You didn't give me a cooler name.
Yeah, right? It's like Chief Dragon Breath over here.
Chief Dragon Breath. That's so racist.
Yeah.
You know what's really racist that I never realized growing up? Peter Pan.
What about him?
So there's a scene in the original 1950s movie where Peter Pan gathers around with Tiger Lily and the rest of the Indians, right?
Okay.
and they start singing this song, Why is the Red Man Red?
I did not know that.
You need to look it up on YouTube. It's hilarious. Old school Disney used to be real racist.
Why does that not? Well, everything back then was racist.
Not everything. And it's weird how that's racist, and it's around the same time Walt Disney was alive, who was also a Nazi, which a bunch of people forget about.
Yeah, and we still watch
And we
movies.
still love Disney.
That's a very interesting...
Yeah, we'll definitely have to cover that topic one day.
Yeah, because, I mean, I didn't know that he was a Nazi.
Oh, 100% anti-Semitic as you can be. He hated Jews.
Well, he's not here anymore. So
He is, well, I mean, he's frozen.
plus. That's a... What?
He's frozen.
What are you
didn't
talking
know that?
about? No, dude.
So whenever he died, he had his body frozen, and nobody knows for sure where he's at. A lot of people believe he's in like the lower tunnels below the Magic Kingdom in Florida.
Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, like below the castle.
So, flood the Magic Kingdom.
Yes, kill the zombies. Kill the ice zombies. Walt Disney is the Ice King.
Yeah, there you go. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, I already killed him, so we're working on that.
There's another theory out there that Walt Disney, Disney, the corporation, made the movie Frozen so people would stop typing in Disney Frozen, looking up like Walt Disney's frozen body. Instead, they would get the Frozen, the movie.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what would happen if we looked up Frozen Walt.
If you look up Frozen Walt Disney, I believe you'll get a couple stories about how they're trying to hide it, but you won't get actual information about him being frozen now.
You would think with all the technology in today's world, someone would be able to find something, especially with all the hackers nowadays, man. You'd think someone would do something.
Disney's tight. Disney is real tight with their secrets and their money.
I mean, if I had $1 billion, I would be too.
Right. It's just been confirmed lately that the catacombs in Disney World are real. So those are like tunnels that are below the park that they use to traffic employees from one place to another. That's why you can be in, let's just use Epcot for example because it's easy. You could be in Chinatown and see Snow White, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go all the way across to the other side of the park and whatever their German town is and see Snow White. You'll never see Snow White walk. They stay in one specific area. They use the tunnels back and forth to keep the characters divided. That way a little girl doesn't see Snow White in Chinatown, then go next door and see a different Snow White.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Same Snow White, same Goofy.
You will never see them.
That'd be funny to watch.
Yeah.
You set a camera up in the catacombs, see Snow White, Goofy, and the Seven Dwarfs wandering through the catacombs. Jesus, that's a horror movie waiting to happen.
There's a lot of Disney creepypastas about the catacombs, about people allegedly breaking in there, some of the rituals that they've seen.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Does it surprise you? $1 billion industry.
No, I definitely think Disney delved kind of deep into some weird magic. I think it's called the Magic Kingdom for a reason, but we'll definitely get into that on a different podcast.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We'll have to cover that in one of these upcoming episodes. But
for today's episode, I think we're pretty much wrapped up. Mike, did you have anything?
No, I just want to thank all you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate all the views and the comments we've been getting. If you guys have any feedback, please leave it in the comments section. We read that. We keep up on it. If not, you don't feel like putting out there for the public to see, shoot us a message. We're on, Twitter, Instagram, hashtag brodown, and on YouTube, obviously, as that brodown. So we just want to thank you guys, all the support and the like, subscription. Don't forget to subscribe. If we continue to get subscribers, every video we put up, we will continue to put videos up for you guys to enjoy.
Absolutely. We really want to do this. We really love this project. And we would really love to start giving you guys more than one a week. I know it's our first episode. It's ambitious, but you stick in there with us, and we will definitely try to keep providing you guys with what you want.
Without further ado, thanks for watching.
Yep, this is bobuck and maddog signing out.
Have a good evening, guys.